One morning my dad called, it was a Sunday morning, and he said, "I'm making some pancakes." And I said, "Okay, I'll be right over." And my mother greeted me at the front door, and she was holding this, and she said, "I have just read the most beautiful love story." And she started reading it out loud. And then I read it too again, and I agreed. And so I wrote the letter, and my mom took it to Lenny when she was doing taxes.
How young is your mother?
My mother is 72.
She came up to me and she said, "I have something to give you," and it had a box with a DVD and this letter around it. And I didn't even look at it because I was doing taxes for someone. I said, "Thank you," and she left, and I took it home, and then I opened it up and I read this letter, and I said, "Pearl, you have to read this letter." So she read the letter, and she said, "Wow," we were so impressed with the letter that she was willing to meet with you, which Pearl normally wouldn't be. But when she read this letter, she knew it was significant.
Oh, in fact, what she said today.
Over hours of conversation, I learned their life stories. Pearl and Lenny grew up in Brooklyn in Jewish families with a shared appreciation of education, the fine arts, and museums, but their paths never crossed in New York. Each one studied at Boston University's Sargent College, but they were there 11 years apart. It was only later, when Pearl was well established as a professor and scholar in physical education, and Lenny was finishing up her doctorate in the field, that they got to know one another better during a job interview, and soon became much more than colleagues.
And so I took her on and I said, "Well, we'll start. Maybe we've got a position and we'll hire her." But by the time she had agreed to come and I had seen her again and again and again, I realized that it just wasn't, she wasn't going to be just someone else. And I'm glad I followed up. I don't know that she would have.
I know I would not have. I would never have. Well, first of all, she was going to be my boss, and I was just fresh with my PhD in hand at a new job. I just wouldn't have, and she had a partner. I mean, I wouldn't have dreamed of going after somebody with a partner. You know, you just don't do that. If it happens, it happens, but, I mean, I just would not have done that. So it was Pearl who had to make all the moves. I mean, the queen is the one who has to woo the suitors, right? And
Oh, thank you. I become a queen. This is a great moment in my life. I'm the queen. Well, that's the way it was.
That is the way it was. When Pearl was asked to take a position at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in 1971, the couple assumed there would be a position for Lenny, too. Instead, they were told that Lenny would never be hired at UNCG because Pearl and Lenny were too open about their relationship.
What did I think? When we crossed the state line, moved into the rest stop, I looked at Lenny and said, "What are we doing here? What have we done? We are in North Carolina? We have lost our minds." And then I said, well, I was only invited here to help start the doctoral program. So I knew it would be over. I had a 3-year, I was invited in, and I said, we can always go back. You know, there's never a problem with that. And when they wouldn't hire her, I just have to say, I think that is the best thing in the world, both professionally and personally, that ever happened to Ellen Gerber. Because that was when the light went on and she decided to go to law school. If they had hired her, she would have never become a lawyer. And her life and her career and what she has done for people, for the community, and for the legal profession is outstanding. It would have never happened had they hired her here.